Joined by Chris Gaffney, the Director of Championships at the Metropolitan Golf Association. How are you doing today?
Doing well.
Yeah,
No tournaments today, but
yeah,
in the office.
that's great. Yeah, so just tell me, we're in the busy season, summer's just about starting, next week. So just tell me about some of the things, you're doing currently, this summer to get ready for, the busy schedule upcoming.
Yeah, we're really when June comes around, we're really in the swing of things at this point. So last week we had our US Open final stage qualifier over in New Jersey. So four players punched their ticket to the US Open this weekend at Oakmont. So it was a special one for us. And then really turn our attention to a lot of upcoming championships. We have our public links coming
Yeah,
up tomorrow, and then our women's med amateur the week after, and then our first men's major of the year, the Ike Championship, right after that. So getting ready for some three really big events in the next 2.5 weeks.
yeah. So yeah, as you mentioned, the U.S. Open starts tomorrow. You hosted a, final qualifying last week. So just tell me about, hosting the final qualifying. What's like, to see your players who qualified, getting to compete starting tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a real privilege for us to be tasked to host this qualifier on behalf of the USGA. And I think this year was even more special as we saw two of our past players of the years at our qualifier qualify. So it was James Nicholas, who is a past MGA player of the year, Chris Gotterup, who is also a past MGA player of the year. Just great to see those two guys get in. And there was actually another local guy from Connecticut, Ben James, who's a great college player who qualified as well. So three of the four spots went to local guys or formerly local guys, which is always cool for us to see. So yeah, really great day at Canoe Brook, but even more satisfying and gratifying to see our past players of the year get into the Open Championship.
Yeah. And now you'll turn your attention again to New Jersey. You'll have the 77th Public Links Championship starting tomorrow. It'll be a 36-hole stroke play event um, at Quinnipiac Hill Golf Course in New Jersey. Just tell me about this championship, and being a 36-hole day tomorrow.
The public links for us is a special one. It's one of the oldest public links championships that's still ongoing in the country, and really in the metropolitan area, we have such a strong public membership. You look at Bethpage on Long Island is it could be considered the hub of golf in the public golf in the Northeast. So we always have such great players coming out of Bethpage, out of the Nassau Players Club, and the public links for us 36 holes in one day. So it's always a grind for the players, a lot of movement on the leaderboard. And we have a really strong field once again this year after we saw a record setting performance last year. So pretty excited for Hominy Hill. And they've actually hosted a couple of USGA championships in the past with the former US amateur public links. So it'll be a really great championship site for us.
Yeah. Can you just tell me a little about, the Metropolitan Golf Association? It's one of the oldest and largest golf associations. Your website says, it's been, going on since 1897. And, I know you host tournaments, New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. So you host, a lot of tournaments over those three states. So just tell me about, your association and just, what it's like, hosting tournaments in three different states.
Yeah, it's a unique setup for us. So we're really kind of a 100-mile radius around New York City. So we hit Fairfield County, most of New Jersey, Westchester, Hudson Valley, and all of Long Island. So pretty big area to cover of golf courses. There's a significant amount there. So founded back in 1897, and really founded around a lot of tournaments early on, as the Met Open was considered a major very early on in its playing. And we have multiple championships that are 100 plus years old. So really special to be a part of those historic championships. And really the association as a whole does so much more, though. From our member services team, we have a exceptional communications team, the MGA Foundation, who supports golf in so many different ways beyond what we do on the championship side of things. So while my role is mostly focused on championships, there's so much going on in the building that supports golf throughout the area.
Yeah. Can you just tell me a little about, how you got started at, the MGA and just some of the things that you and your, championship team does, right now in the busy season and, also in the winter when, we're not playing golf outside?
Yeah, I got started back in 2013, 2012, actually, with a Boatwright internship at the Long Island Golf Association.
Okay.
Since then, over the last 7 or 8 years, the Long Island Golf Association is actually now a part of the MGA the Met Golf Association. So pretty cool to still be a part of those championships when I started. And I really began as a USGA Boatwright Intern, which is a program the USGA, who's running the US Open this week, helped support so that
Mhm.
golf associations across the country can hire young, capable interns to help support association operations throughout the year. So I've been with Met Golf Association since 2014 now. That was my first season. And really, my team is focused on running championships, the rules of golf, and facilitating all these playing opportunities for our membership. So this time of year, it's a lot of course setup, a lot of meetings with clubs, and a lot of time spent in the field administering these events. And if you look at our off season in the winter,
Mhm.
it's a lot of planning and preparation and training. We have an exceptional volunteer corps of about 150 volunteers who help support these events in addition to staff. So in the off season, we're doing a lot of rule seminars, getting the staff and volunteers trained. And there's a significant amount of planning that goes on to get the schedule set for the year, make sure everything's in place. So while we're not out in the field in the winter, there's a lot going on to make sure the schedule's perfect and our team and volunteers are ready for the season when it comes around.
Yeah. Then the two tournaments to round out June, you'll have the 23rd Met Women's Amateur Championship at Sunningdale Country Club, and then Hamilton Farm Golf Club will host the 70th Ike Stroke Play Championship. So just tell me about those two tournaments, to round out the June schedule.
Yeah, the women's Met Amateur, we're really excited for this year. It's the first year that this will be a 54 hole championship. So both the Ike and the women's Met Amateur, you play 18 holes day one. We cut to the low 40 players and ties,
Mhm.
and then those 40 players play 36 on day two. So 54 holes of golf. A lot goes on over the course of 2 days, and Sunningdale Country Club, one of the best golf courses in Westchester, has hosted numerous championships for us. So a really fitting venue to host this first multi-day women's Met Amateur, and really excited as we have a great field. The golfers ranging from we have some 12 and 13-year-old low handicappers in the field, some great mid-ams, great college players. So just very excited to bring this new format to a great golf course with a great field next week on the women's Met Amateur side.
Yeah. So we won't talk about every tournament, but two more tournaments I wanted to talk about, upcoming this summer. One that's, probably pretty cool is the 23rd Carter Cup will be hosted at Baltusrol Golf Club. It's hosted major championships both on the men and women's side in New Jersey. So it'll be hosted in July. And last year that was hosted, the 22nd one was at Wingfoot Golf Club. This is a junior tournament for, males and female golfers under the age of 18 who haven't started college yet. So just tell me about, this tournament and it being, the MGA's, Junior Stroke Play Championship.
The Carter Cup's a unique one
Mhm.
for us because it's an
Yeah.
invitational. The majority of our events involve qualifying or exemptions to get in there. There's typically a qualifying component. For the Carter Cup, it's just invitational based. So
Mhm.
traditionally, this event has been just a men's boys event. This year, there's a girls division added. So
Okay.
another one where the event expands a little bit this year, which is very exciting. And it's a memorial event for a great junior golfer who was at both. He was a junior club champion at both Carter at Michael Carter was at both Baltusrol and Wingfoot. So traditionally, the event is played at Baltusrol on the upper and lower course. There are certain years, like last year, where Baltusrol was under construction, so the championship was played at Wingfoot. So uh, obviously, from the places we're at, you can imagine that it is a truly special experience for these juniors who get to play in it. They get to play both courses at what are two of the best facilities in the entire world. And I think adding to the excitement this year is last year, Baltusrol Upper Course underwent a major restoration from Gil Hanse. So this will be one of the first major events played on that upper course. So Carter Cup, always a special one for us, but even better that we get to see a newly unveiled Baltusrol Upper Course this year.
Yeah. Then the other tournament I wanted to talk about, it'll be hosted in August, but it'll be your 110th Met Open Championship. It'll be at Meadowbrook Club this year. So just tell me about this tournament. It's unique. Open Championship, you get the amateurs and professionals to play. It'll be a 54 hole stroke play championship. So just tell me about this tournament, being the 110th Open Championship.
Yeah, it is the one of the oldest Open championships in the country, and I mentioned it when we started that it was considered a major originally when it was played back in the day, as you had so many greats in the Met area with people like Gene Sarazen and Byron Nelson, and uh, the Met Open is really our biggest event on the calendar, sponsored by Callaway for the championship, and it brings together the best professionals, best amateurs throughout the Met area. A special component of the Met Open is that the past champions are eligible and exempt for life. So similar to what you see at the Masters, where we have longtime champions coming back to play in it and compete, and then you have the best young professionals and amateurs in the area out there as well. And we head to Meadowbrook Club on Long Island this year, which is a historic club in the Met area, perfect venue for the Met Open, and they have some of the best professional staff golfers in the area. So great venue for us to be at for that championship.
Yeah. And I also wanted to talk about, qualifiers. So, you host all these championships, but for each of these championships, a lot of them, you host qualifiers. Like for the Met Open, you have, six qualifiers for the tournament. So just tell me about, not only hosting the championships, but also hosting, these qualifiers and what it takes, to put on, several qualifiers just for, one single championship.
Yeah, qualifying is a huge part of what we do. And I think
Mhm.
when you look at USGA championships, MGA championships, it is one of the best things about it is that if you have a low enough handicap index, you put together 18 great holes, you can make it to these historic great championships. So for us, it's 6 or 7 total qualifiers for our three majors, the Ike, the Met Amateur, and the Met Open. So throughout the year, we're running these qualifiers. Great support from our member clubs in the area who will typically give up their course for the day so that we can have 100+ players come out and try to earn a spot in the field. But it's always a great one. You see people have the best round of their year, get into these championships, and there's always a lot of great storylines that develop. And I think we just really love how great it is that if you have an eligible handicap index, you can sign up for it. And if you play 18 great holes, you can be teeing it up against the best pro in the Met area at the Met Open and playing in your first event that way. So
Yeah.
qualifying is something that makes the events great and something we take a lot of pride in.
Yeah. Then I also wanted to ask, obviously, during the winter, we're not, playing golf outdoors, but right now, when we're basically, in June, starting up the summer, just tell me about, what, hosting a lot of championships, the busy schedule that I'm sure you and your staff have, and just, the things that you do, during the summer to host, lots of different championships and have a, busy schedule.
Yeah, planning and coordination is a huge
Mhm.
part of what we do. Making sure we're able to incorporate site visits ahead of the championships, meetings with the important staff members at the club, whether it's the head professional, the general manager, the superintendent. So planning and coordinating is a huge part of what we do to make sure that each event is planned for properly, the team's ready to go, and we have just such a great championship team that we have various people handling events throughout the year, and we have plenty of dates where we have 3 qualifiers and a championship going on one date. So there's always coordinating and making sure everything's kind of in line well ahead of time is a big part of what we do to make sure everything flows properly throughout the summer.
Yeah. And finally, I'll end on this. Just tell me, what have you learned from working in golf and what, have you enjoyed most from getting to, work in golf, being director of championships?
I think one of the things you realize the more you're at these events is just how much great golf there really is out there. I mean, we see firefighters, we see police officers, we see people working in finance, we see every walk of life out here who are just exceptional golfers, and you see so many people who, on their best day, can compete with people who might be playing in a major championship.
Mhm.
And I think it's one of the coolest things you get to see is that the line between being very good and great is so small, and it is
Mhm.
just it's so impressive how many great golfers there really are out there, and that at their best they can shoot under par rounds on really difficult major championship golf courses. Uh, yeah, and I think one of the best things about the area we're in is we get to run events at courses that do host these major championships. So, like you pointed out with the Carter Cup, being able to run a championship at Wingfoot, being able to run a championship at Baltusrol, and getting to help be a small part in some of these players realizing their dreams to play in a championship at a U.S. Open venue, I think is one of the best parts of what we get to do at the MGA.
Yeah.